Good afternoon, all participants. On behalf of Indian Railway Institute of Financial Management, Secunderabad, I extend warm welcome to each one of you for today's webinar on earnings budget. This course is designed for account staff who are appearing for Appendix 3A, Special Appendix 3A to be held in March. But this is also useful for all the account staff who are appearing for different examinations, different department examinations. So I request all of you to please make use of this opportunity. To take up today's session on earnings budget, we have Shri V.D. Christopher, Deputy CCM, Freight Service, South Central Railway. Welcome, sir, and it's over to you to comment the session.
Yeah, thank you, Benha. Thank you, IRIFM, for giving this opportunity. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Christopher, Deputy CCM, Freight Service, South Central Railway. I belong to 2006 batch. And I have taken several classes on the budget earnings. So today's class will be basically on the earnings, budget earnings aspect, not the expenditure aspect. I hope I'm audible to everybody.
Sir, audible, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So hope this session will be useful to you, and I hope everybody is hale and healthy. And the COVID is now very serious, so I wish everybody a happy class session, online session, so that we can all listen. And I'm going to share what is budget earnings and how does Indian Railways fare in the earnings aspect, and how do you calculate the earning aspect of the budget. And because on the freight services, we calculate and we deal with the earnings aspect of the budget. So I'll just proceed with my PowerPoint presentation. If anybody is having any doubts, we'll reserve it to the end of the session so that all the doubts can be cleared. So there will not be interruption of the class, and hope everybody will understand. Then they can write down their doubts and can be clarified later at the end of the session. So this is about the presentation on earnings and budget. So Indian Railways is among the world's largest network. So it's among the world's largest rail network in the world. So its route length, as you're all aware, it is spread over 67,956 kilometers, with about 13,169 passenger trains and 8,479 freight trains, flying about 2.3 crore travelers and carrying about 3 million tons of freight every day. And we have about 7,400 stations on Indian Railway. So it is recognized as one of the largest railway systems in the world under single management. So the people are just awestruck, and people are making a study how the Indian Railways is moving its freight and such a huge voluminous passenger traffic, and especially also the FOIS network and the PRS network, and how the IT systems are functioning without any fail, and how the IT network is helping the Indian Railways to analyze and to manage the freight operations, especially the huge volume we carry across the country. So this is about just an overall view of where we stand. And we are all very proud to be working for this huge organization called the Indian Railways. And it is a duty of everybody, not only accounts department, or every department should know the process of planning and how budget is estimated on the Indian Railways. So what is budget? So we'll go by definitions initially. So budget is a statement of the estimated annual receipts and expenditure, both on capital as well as revenue transactions of an organization. So any organization will have this concept called budget. It is an estimation, how do we have these receipts, and there's annual receipts and the expenditure, and then coming to railways, both on capital as well as revenue transactions. So we need to know where do we stand, how much we earn and how much we are spending, and how much we are trying to have surplus and what we are spending. It is also a process of planning and reviewing the activities of an organization. To know the organization, to know the health of the organization, whether we are running in the right direction, whether we're going in the right direction, whether we are running in losses or we are running in profits, and how, if you're getting profits, and how to spend the surplus money, and if you're running in losses, how to curb the expenditure. So this is all part of the budget planning. So it is essential for any organization to have a proper budgeting. So that is very important. So railway administration, that is coming to earnings budget, the chief commercial manager, the freight service, is responsible for earnings estimate, as he is in more touch with freight through marketing and sales organization, and is responsible for regulating the rates and fares. So as I told you in the beginning itself, the chief commercial department, the chief commercial freight manager, is responsible for the earnings estimate. And we prepare the estimate earnings in regard to goods, coaching, and other coaching, whereas the principal financial advisor, that is the PFA, prepares the estimate for sundry earnings. That is the suspense of the gross receipts. And two sets of estimates earnings are prepared on the basis, one on the basis of auditing earnings and another on the basis of apportioned earnings. So two sets are prepared. So the commercial department, that is the chief commercial CCM is responsible for preparing this earnings estimate, and the PFA is responsible for preparing this suspense set, that is the sundry earnings. And the revised estimate for the earnings for the current year and the budget estimate for the next year are submitted at the same time rail report, consisting of passenger earnings, other coaching earnings, goods, and sundry earnings. So this estimate for the current year, that's for the complete year, and also for the estimates for the next year, are submitted at the same time to the railway board. And they consist of passenger earnings, goods earnings, coaching earnings, and sundry earnings. So coming to passenger earnings, and how these passengers are calculated, and from where are they calculated, I'll just go in detail of it. So the passenger earnings, again, they are bifurcated into first AC, second AC, sleeper, third AC, etc. Similarly, other coachings again are bifurcated as parcels, luggage, special trains, penalties, platform tickets. So these constitute the other coaching earnings. The passenger earnings, that is first AC, second AC, sleeper class, third AC, and all, they come under passenger earnings. And also the other coachings consist of parcels, earnings from parcels, earning from luggage, special trains, penalties, and platform tickets. So what is sundry earnings? Sundry earnings is from main commercial publicity, catering, rents, tools, etc. So these constitute the sundry earnings. So as I told you, the passenger earnings consist of the revenue from the tickets, revenue from other coaching earnings, and revenue from commercial publicity, catering, and other things. So all these three constitute the passenger earnings. This revised estimate and budget estimate has been revised for submission during September for current financial year instead of November, December, as was earlier. So board has given this clarification that we have to submit this budget estimate, revised estimate in the month of September. And earlier it was August review was there. Now it has been discontinued, which was in prior to 2007, it was there. Now we are submitting in the month of September. So hope I'm clear about the passenger earnings. Again, I'm going to repeat you. Passenger earnings consist of the earnings for tickets, that is the earnings from first AC ticket, second AC ticket, sleeper class ticket, etc. And other coaching earnings, they are from the parcels, the luggage, the special trains, penalties, and platform tickets. And thirdly is sundry earnings, that is from commercial publicity, catering, rents, etc. And these revised estimate and the budget estimates are submitted to Railway Board during the month of September, both for the current year as well as for the next year also. So first of all, why do you require this budget, earning budget? So earning budget is required to estimate the cash surplus after meeting the working expenses. So as I told you, anything, even at home also, when we sit being a family, we try to understand what is the budget of the family. Suppose the father and mother earns, all the families sit together and see what is the father's salary and what is the mother's salary and what is the expenditure. Expenditure towards the tuition fees of the children, expenditure towards the groceries, expenditure towards the petrol, expenditure towards the current, and expenditure towards the purchase of something else. So this is all about the budget. So as a family, how do we calculate our earnings? So end of the month, at the beginning of the month, we sit and we understand what is the probable earning we get and what is the expenditure and how much I'm going to save. And with that save, how do I save for my future children's future education or marriage or whatever it is there. So that's how we plan at the family. Similarly, large organization like railways, they also require this budget. So earning budget is very important for us to know how much we're earning and what is the amount we are going to have surplus after meeting the working expenses. So what is it we're going to save and how this cash surplus is going to be spent. The cash surplus can be invested on projects to improve rail network and provide new lanes or connectivity, run additional services, improve passenger amenities, etc. So that is how we try to save money and invest in the improving the rail network and also to provide new lines and connectivity and additional service also. Because as you know, the railways is a very old organization since the British time, but we have been trying to improve, and now it's almost the 5th largest organization in the world. And we have a huge earnings, about 1.72 lakh crores we earn, and about we have only a surplus about last year we got about 6,000-7,000 only cash surplus, and remaining amount we meet from the extra budgetary support from the loans, which I'm going to come about in the next slides. The coming slides I'm going to explain from where we get this money and how we are spending this money. But basically my topic today is about the earnings budget. So I'll concentrate more on the earnings aspect rather than the expenditure aspect. So I'm just to give an idea as to why we do this budget and how we are going to earn this budget and what are the items constitute this budget and how we're going to spend this cash surplus from this budget. So coming to the earnings aspect, as I told you earlier, I'm going to concentrate more on the revenue aspect and how much the railways earn and from where does the money come. So freight earnings is the bread and butter for Indian Railways. As you're all aware, the freight earnings is a very important aspect of the Indian Railways. So the salary we get, the loan we get, the pension we get, whatever earnings we get, whatever the money we get is all from the freight earnings. So the freight earnings is the bread and butter for Indian Railways. So I've just taken an example. 2020-21, we earned about 1,17,232 crores. Even though 2020 was a pandemic year, because we ran freight trains, but still we could earn 1,17,230 crores, even though it is lesser than compared to 1920. But I'm just giving a figure of last year, how much we have earned through freight earnings. I'm going to explain to you in the coming slides also, and what constitute the freight earnings and what are the commodities which are covered in the freight earnings, and what are the major earnings through which what are the major commodity through which we get the major revenue. I'm going to explain to you that in the coming slide also. So the freight earnings constitute about 65 to 68% of the revenue which railways receiving, and it is the bread and butter for the Indian Railways. And next is passenger earnings. So as I told you earlier, the passenger earnings, we get it from the sale of passenger tickets. So this is the second most. So this constitutes about 30% of our revenue, 20 or 30%. So it is last year we got 2021, during the year 2021, we earned about rupees 15,248 crores, which was very less when compared to the previous year because of the COVID-19. So we canceled a lot of trains. Just to give an idea at what constitute the earnings aspect, I'm just giving the slides so that you will understand from where we are getting this earning and what constitute the budget earnings. So the freight earnings, and next is passenger earnings. This is sundry earnings. So sundry earnings, as I told you earlier, the sundry earnings are basically from catering and advertisement and all these things. They basically the major constituent of this sundry earnings. Even the engineering aspect also. But the commercial aspect, I'm looking at the catering and the advertisement earnings. So we earned about 5,939 crores during the year 2021. So these constitute the sundry earnings. And next is other coaching earnings. So this constitutes about 2-3% only. And whatever the earnings we get from the luggage, the parcels, these constitute the other coaching earnings. So we earned about 2,097 crores during the year 2021. So these are the 4 major items through which Indian Railways is getting its revenue. So the earning budget is basically hovering about and is basically derived from these 4 units. One is freight, next is passenger, third is sundry, other is other coaching earnings. So 60 to 70% is the freight earnings, 28 to 30% is the passenger earnings, about 5 to 6% is sundry earnings, about 2 to 3% is the other coaching earnings. Hope I'm clear and able to understand. Okay, I'm just trying to give you the earnings summary aspect of it. As I told you, I'm just trying to depict in a slide that what is the total earning aspect Indian Railways has earned during 1920. So as I told you, freight earnings. So you can see a box and rake, box and wagon. This is a coal and almost, as I said, 65 to 68% that constitutes the freight earnings. The passenger earnings almost it constitutes 28 to 30% is the freight earnings. Other coaching earnings is 3%. Revenue sundry earnings is 4%. So the total revenue earned is almost it's 150 to 140, 150 crores during the last year. So I'm just summarizing what are the major source of earnings: passenger earnings, goods earnings, other coaching, and sundry earnings. So from these earnings, the revenue and capital expenditure of Indian Railways are being met from the above major sources. So the major source of expenditure, as you're all aware, is the revenue and the capital expenditure. So these two are met from the above earnings, source of earnings. That is the freight earnings, the passenger earnings, the sundry earnings, and the other coaching earnings. So what is revenue expenditure? Revenue expenditure is met for salaries, fuels, maintenance, etc. So all these constitute the revenue expenditure. And what is capital expenditure? Capital expenditure is nothing but from gauge conversions, construction of new lines, station development, tractions, development of stations, and all these things constitute the capital expenditure. So revenue expenditure is salaries, fuels, maintenance. So this is revenue aspect. So capital expenditure is gauge conversions, construction of new lines, station development, tractions, etc. So to meet this revenue and capital expenditure, so the earning budget has a very prominent role to play. So whatever the surplus earnings that is remaining after meeting this expenditure, that will be contributed to the contingency fund of Government of India. Now I don't think we are contributing because we are not having that surplus money now, but earlier we used to contribute for the contingency fund of India also. So hope I'm clear. The earning aspect is from the 4 aspects, that is goods, passenger, other coaching, sundry. And the money we earn, we spend towards this revenue and capital expenditure. Revenue is to meet for salaries, fuel expenditure, and maintenance. Capital is for gauge conversion, construction new lines, station development, traction. So this is what we earn, and this is what we want to spend for. So these are the two important aspects of the budget. As I told you in the earlier slide, I'm going into further detail about it. The passenger earnings constitute about the 10% of total earnings end of March 2020. They constitute about 10% of the total earnings. And what does it constitute is suburban and non-suburban. Again, it's divided into two, that is suburban and non-suburban. Suburban is constitute first class and general class passengers. Non-suburban is first AC, second AC, third AC, whatever, express trains, mail express trains, Rajdhani trains, and all are there. So suburban trains, you're all aware, and what are two trains. So these two together will constitute the passenger earnings. What are other coaching earnings? Other coaching earnings almost they constitute about 2%, as I told you. We get from parcel, whatever we get from parcels, luggage, special trains, military, other military, penalties imposed by the ticket checking staff, public station masters, platform tickets, cloakroom charges, postal haulage charges, cancellation clerkage charges, identity cards, demurrage, wharfage, miscellaneous. So all these constitute the other coaching earnings. Hope are now able to understand what is passenger and other coaching earnings. So many may not be aware what other coaching earnings. You can just note it down. Whatever your earnings we get from parcels, luggage, special trains, penalties imposed by ticket checking staff, platform tickets, cloakroom charges, postal haulage charges, cancellation clerkage charges, identity cards, demurrage, wharfage, miscellaneous, etc. So all these constitute the other coaching earnings. And what is goods earnings? I'm just telling you 86% because end of March we had pandemic, so the passenger earnings was very less. So the 86% may not be the picture for the complete Indian Railways, because last almost before the 2021 till 1920, the goods earnings constituted about 65 to 70% only. I'm just compared to the end of March 21, and the goods earnings contribution was 86% because passenger trains we could not run because of the pandemic. So what are freight earnings? So whatever the earnings we get from coal, cement, iron ore, food grains, fertilizers, petroleum products, container service, raw material for steel plants, and other things and others, these all constitute the goods earnings. And many people think only these are part of the goods, and no. The earnings, whatever you get from the demurrage, wharfage, stacking charges, siding charges, trip charges, shunting charges also are the part of goods earnings. So not only what we earn from these commodities like coal, cement, iron ore, etc., but earnings from demurrage, wharfage, stacking charges, siding charges, trip charges, shunting charges also constitute part of the goods earnings. And what are sundry earnings? Sundry earnings are the earnings which we get from rents and tolls, non-fare revenue, that is commercial publicity, that itself is a big subject, commercial publicity, catering, parking, ATMs, pay-and-use storage, commercial plots. So all these things constitute the sundry earnings. So I've just taken the part of the commercial aspect of sundry earnings. Apart from there is again engineering aspect also is there. Whatever they get from the leeway charges, levying of leeway charges also constitute whatever we get from the leasing of land. All this also part of the constitute the part of the sundry earnings. But I have taken the commercial aspect only, and whatever the earnings we get from the rents, from the stalls, the non-fare revenue, that is commercial publicity, the catering, the parking, ATMs, pay-and-use toilets, and commercial plots. So all these constitute sundry earnings. So this is a broad picture of what I'm trying to say, what constitute the earnings of Indian Railways. So 68 to 70% constitute goods earnings. The goods earnings again are again, we get goods earnings through the commodities like coal, cement, iron ore, food grains, fertilizers, etc. And also from the earnings from demurrage warpays, stacking charges, siding charges, etc. And the passenger earnings that we get basically from the suburban and non-suburban. Again, that is called ticket earnings. And this other coaching that is basically belongs to the parcels aspect. And the military trains, whatever trains we run. So that is other coaching. And the sundry earnings, basically they are from the catering and the non-fare revenue, parking, etc., vehicle parking, etc. So all these 4 items, they are the major source of earnings for Indian Railways, and they are the basic items for constituting the budget earnings. So coming back again, going deeper into it, the earning budget, how this is prepared. The estimates of earnings prepared are taken into account. What constitute the earning estimate, how it is calculated based on the originate earnings and apportioned earnings. So when we estimate the earnings, we take into aspect of originating as well as apportioned earnings. This includes adjustment with other railways and other government departments also. So whenever there is due, whenever there is adjustment with the other governments like the military department or FCA, whatever is there, that adjustment is done. And this includes other railways also. What is adjustment, we're going to do that. And this originating and apportioned earnings, they are part of the earnings estimate. And what are the physical parameters? The physical parameters are the passenger, that is originating passengers, passenger kilometers, and lead. And coming to freight, what is the physical parameters in freight? Loading in million tons, NTKMs, and lead. So coming to passengers earning estimate, what are the physical parameters? They are the originating passengers, passenger kilometers, and the lead. Coming to freight, that is loading in million tons, NTKMs, and lead. And also the relation of dues to the sundry debtors, the power houses, etc. They have a lot of dues paying like shunting charges and all. So they are also part of the, whenever we realize from these powerhouses, etc., we also take into earning aspect also. So that also, they are also part of the earning budget. So hope I'm clear how this earning estimate is prepared. These are again prepared for the originating and the apportioned earnings. And what is originating, what is apportioned, I'm going to explain to the next slide. And this also include the adjustment of other railways. And what are the physical parameters? Originating passengers, passenger kilometers, and lead. For passengers, for freight, it is loading in million tons, NTKMs, and lead. So how this constitute the preparation of earnings estimate. So estimates for passenger and goods traffic are prepared separately under the heads originating, received, and carried, and then the total is cast. So estimates are prepared separately for passenger as well as goods. The detailed working sheet under passenger traffic, goods traffic, other coaching traffic under the above headings are sent to traffic accounts for ratification and for the vetting. Again, earning budget is classified as abstract X, abstract Y, and abstract Z. So abstract X is what? Abstract X is from the earnings from the passenger traffic and other coaching traffic. They are classified under abstract X. So again, it's subdivided into minor head and subhead. So these earnings are accounted under minor head 100, subheads 110. So these are all you can find in the traffic code, accounts code. Minor head, subhead 100 is minor head, subhead 110. So this PowerPoint presentation I'm going to share with you, so you can have all these details in this. Just for the academic interest for the preparation for examination, I've just displayed this slide. So what is abstract X and what is abstract Y? So abstract Y is from the earnings from goods traffic, that is 92. Again, it's a minor head Coal and coke, fuel comes under minor head 100. General merchandise, container traffic, food grains under 200, 300 is military traffic, 400 is livestock, like that. Again, that is classified and they are estimated under this head. So these should be classified under this head. Then only we'll have a proper accounting of this earnings. So this is very important that we to account in the under proper head. Otherwise, they'll be shown in some other head also. So it is a department. It is a response to the accounts officers to account properly the commodities under which these are classified. So abstract Z is sundry earnings, that is 93. 100 is passenger earnings, 92 abstract X, abstract Y is goods 92, and abstract Z is sundry earnings, that is 93. Again, this is a minor head, that is 100 is military traffic telegraph earnings, 200 is rent and tolls, 300 receipts of category department, 400 is overcharges. So again, these are classified further. So abstract X is passenger, abstract Y is goods, abstract Z is sundry earnings. As I told you earlier, I said I'm going to explain to you what are two types of earnings. What is originating earnings and what is apportioned earnings. So originating earnings, what are the originating earnings? Originating earnings, they are reckoned for coaching and goods travel from the originating station to the destination station, which also evaluates the performance of zonal railway. For example, South Central Railway. Earnings reckoned in respect of other coaching and sundry realized on the zonal railway. So whatever the traffic which is originating from the particular railway to the destination, they are called originating earnings. Originating means nothing starting, initial. So wherever these earnings originate, wherever this traffic is booked, these are originating earnings. Hope I'm clear. Earnings reckoned for coaching and goods traffic from originating station to the destination station, which also evaluates the performance of zonal railway. The zonal railway performance is also evaluated based on the originating earnings. And what are apportioned earnings? Earnings apportioned on the basis of distance negotiated in the jurisdiction of the zonal railway, whether it's coaching or goods. So if the goods train does not originate but travels on this particular railway, then the distance traveled on that particular railway, that is whatever is earned, whatever the distance is traveled, that particular distance into the lead is apportioned, that is the total distance traveled by transported will be proportional distributed zonal railways as per distance negotiated particular railway. So whatever the distance traveled, complete total distance, say a goods train traveled about 500 kilometers total and 100 kilometers South Central Railway, originated in Southern Railway, that is Chennai, traveled on South Central Railway, traveled on East Coast Railway, and terminated and Southeastern Railway. So all these distance traveled will be apportioned, distributed as per the distance negotiated. Suppose the goods train which has started from the Chennai has traveled for 100 kilometers in Chennai in Southern Railway and 150 kilometers in South Central, about 200 kilometers in East Coast, and about 300 kilometers in Southeastern. So based on the distance traveled, these earnings will be apportioned. See, originating earnings is the earnings which the traffic which is earned from the originating station to the destination. But apportioned earnings is not to the originating, but the goods train travel for the portion on the railways. So based on the distance, this is again apportioned. So these two types of earnings, one is originating, other is apportioned. Indian Railways fixes earning targets for each financial year under each head. So the Indian Railways Railway Board fixes targets for passengers, other coaching, goods and sundries. So the target passenger trains, like indicator like leads, rates, number of passengers are being taken to work out the earnings of each zone, lead rates are taken to consideration on the weighted average method. So based on these factors, the total passenger earning target is fixed. And how the goods earning target is fixed? Current year indicators like leads, rates, loading in million tons are taken for fixing the target for each financial year on the goods aspect. So goods aspect is leads, rates, and loading in million tons. Whereas the leads, rates, and the number of passenger trains are number of passengers carried are target for passenger earnings, and the leads, million tons, and lead constitute the goods earnings, target of goods earnings. Target for other coaching and Sunday earnings, railway board will fix for each railway based on the past performance of that railway. So these targets are basically calculated. Just to give an idea how these earning targets are fixed, I have just presented this slide. So just coming to South Central Railway, I just want to show you how this performance South Central Railway is evaluated and how South Central Railway performed for the last 3 years. I'm displaying this. You can see in 18-19, the passenger earnings 4,000 crores, 19-20, 4,100 crores, 2021, you can see is 975 crores. So very less. Then again, 2020 up to December, we have picked up, it's almost 2,028 crores. So you can see 1920 is very good year for the passengers for us. Other coaching, 318 crores, 314, 170, again pandemic year, 278, again we have picked up. Freight goods, 10,954, 18-19. We have done extremely well in 18-19. 19-20, 9,000 crores. Again, we have fallen down 8,498 in 2021. But still we have done good in spite of the pandemic. 2021, already we have done 7,645 crores. Hope we are reaching. We plan to reach about 10,000 crores also in this year. Sundays, 345 crores. 307 crores in 1920, 260 crores in 2021, 203 crores already achieved in up to December. So the South Central itself has contributed 15,672 crores or 10,156 crores till now to the Indian Railways earnings. I've just given you, because South Central figures I've just given to have an idea for you to understand how we fare in respect to these earnings and what constitutes the major earnings on the Indian Railways. So end of December, I've just compared a complete year. Now end of December, when compared to last year, there is variation on the end of the passenger variation of 451%. Other coaching 210%, goods about 32% we are plus already. Sundays we are about 23% plus. So total compared to last year, we almost have done 58%. We are more than last year. This is the complete year of what we have earned. That's the portion. So this is apportion earnings. So that was the urgent earnings. This is the apportion earnings. So apportion earnings, you can see much more than the urgent earnings. Just I've taken the South Central Railway figures. Passenger apportion earnings is 5,292 crores. In 18-19, 19-20, 6,245. Actual 13-47 apportioning very less. Last year, 2,068 crores in the current year. Other coaching also less. Goods is about 13,000 crores we have done in 19-20. Sundays also we have done. So 19-20 was a very good in case of apportion earnings. We have done very good in 19-20. In case of originating, we have done very good in 18-19. So always apportion earnings will be much more than the originating earnings. This is really end of December. So commodity wise, again, this is a South Central Railway. I'm just going to explain how do we calculate, how this is estimated. As I told you earlier, how this is goods earning is estimated. I'm just going to explain to you how do we calculate the expected earnings in respect of freight. We take all the commodities on South Central Railway. We get earnings from coal, iron ore, RMS, that is steel, raw material for steel plants, cement, food grains, fertilizers, PO oil, contain others in total. So we have again I've given A, B, C, D, E, and F. So I hope you can understand this. So how do we estimate the expected earnings for 21-22 in the month of say September? How do I estimate? So I take the actual lead of 2021 last year, that is 2021. I have this actual loading is there. So in the aspect of coal, we have earned about 43 million tons during 2021, and target given to us is 57.3 millions. The actual earnings during 2021 is 3,404 crores. The actual lead is 43 millions. The actual earnings is 3,400 crores. The adopted lead to the end of March 2021 is 368 kilometers. So the NTKMs, this is very important. The NTKMs is 21,086 kilometers. How did you get this lead into tonnage? 57.3 millions into the lead that we get NTKMs. So what is the adopted rate per ton kilometers end of March is 2. This is accounts department gives us. This is 2.13 is the adopted rate given to us per train kilometer. What is the rate? 2.13. So what is the expected earnings is 4,491 crores. How did you get? That is the NTKMs into the rate. The total NTKMs into the rate divided by 10 months. By 10. So to calculate into this million tons into crores. So how do we to quantify that? We divide by 10. So the total NTKMs, how do we get this NTKMs? That is 368, that is lead into the loading. Loading into lead, we get the NTKMs, and NTKMs into the rate, we get the expected earnings. So that's how we, for each commodity, we get this earnings. So that's how we estimate the earnings for the year 2021-22. So this is about the freight aspect. So this is how we calculate the estimation of the freight. And how do we calculate the expected earnings for the coaching, the passengers? This I'm going to explain to you. Listen very carefully. This we have taken 2 years, 18-19, 19-20. For the originating first 5 months, this April to August, we have earned about 163.15 passengers. This is about we are estimating the number of passengers. So 160 million passenger travel for the first 5 months in 18-19, that is 163.145 millions. The next 7 months, September to March, 219 million passenger travel. So the next originating earnings for the next 12 months, how do I estimate? So I've taken the last year, 18-19, this first 5 months, and the next 7 months, and the next 12 months is nothing but A plus B. The first 5 months plus 7 months. But the ratio of these two is 1.35. So this ratio, whatever I get, that is 219 by 163, 1.34 ratio is get. I got this ratio. I'll be applicable to. I'll be applying to 19-20 to estimate the next 12 months originating. I'm going to explain. Suppose I'm calculating in the month of September. In the month of September 19-20. So 19-20 September I'm there. So first 5 months is I got this figure already I have 158 millions. This figure which is already available. First 5 months April to August is 158 millions. Next 7 months, that's September to next 7 months September to March is the figure which I got from which I multiplied for the ratio by the of the 1.35 into 158. This I got 213. So 213 plus 158, I got 372. So this ratio of whatever is there 18-19 that I apply to calculate the next 7 months. So A plus B, I get the calculation for the complete year. So next 7 months, 372 millions. So the ratio of the last year, that is first 5 months, divided by next 7 months, then whatever ratio I got for the last year, I can predict, but this is not applicable to pandemic year, but for the year which is normal year, this is how we calculate. That is, the ratio of first 5 months to next 7 months is 1.35. The same is applied to first 5 months of 1920 to get the forecast of 7 months. So the total forecast number of passengers of 1920 will be arrived at. Hope you understand. So next 7 months calculation is calculated based on the ratio of the previous year. That is, I will explain to you once again for the benefit of everybody. 1890 figures I take for the first 5 months, April to August, 163 millions figures, 160.14 million, 145 millions. Next 7 months, 219 by 219.566. This divide the next 12 months. How do you calculate this? 163 plus 219, 382 millions I've already calculated. So the ratio is, how did I get it? Ratio is this divided by this. 219 divided by 163, I get the ratio of 1.35. So the ratio of 1.35, I am going to apply for the current year, that is 1920. First 5 months, I'm already having these figures, 158 millions. So 158 into 1.35, I'm going to get the next 7 months figure, that is 213. So 213 plus 158, I get the originating earnings, expected earnings for the complete next 12 months, complete year. So I am expected to carry 372. So the number of passengers expected to travel during 1920 is 372 millions. This is less than last year. Why? Because in the first 5 months, we have carried less passengers, 158 passengers. If you see the last year, the first 5 months, the number of passengers are more. So that's the reason why, even though ratio 1.25, the next originating 12 months, we are expected to have the number of passengers at 372 millions only. I hope everybody understood now. So coming to earnings aspect. How this earning is calculated? We have just seen how the number of passengers is calculated. But how the total number of, what is the earning aspect? How do we estimate the earnings to end of March 2020? So the total number of passengers to end of March 2020, we have seen earlier 372 millions that we have calculated. The actual lead to the end of August 2020, that will be already available with us, 254. And to the end of March also, we adopt that same lead, 254 kilometers only. The actual rate per kilometers, which is given by the accounts department to the end of August, is 0.49 paisa per kilometer, 0.49 rupee per kilometer. And the rate also to the end of March, same thing, we are going to adopt 0.49. And how is the earning estimate to the end of March 2020 is the number of passengers into adopted lead into the rate. So number of passengers into lead into rate, we get the end March earnings to the end of March. This is 4,630 crores. We calculate, we estimate that we are going to earn 4,630 crores to end of the March. Hope it's very clear, very easy. So number of passengers into lead into rate, we get the earnings, 4,630 kilometers. Hope it's clear. Now I've shown you how do we calculate, how do we estimate the number of passengers, how do we estimate the flight earnings, and how do we estimate the passenger earnings. So this is very important aspect of the budget earnings, and how it is calculated and how it is evaluated and how we estimate for the, not only for the current year, how we estimate for the coming year also. again, just to show and what is the actual Indian Railways, I have shown you the earnings aspect in particular to Southern Railway. As I told you, goods earnings when compared to Indian Railways, we have earned about 76%. That is a major chunk is the goods. The 20% is that is blue. That is 20% is passenger. Next is other coaching. That is about 3%. And Sunday earnings, that is purple. That is only 1%. So this is how Indian Railways, when compared to last year, December, end of December, this is how it has fared. So 76% is the passenger, is the goods, 20% is the passenger, 1% is sundry, and 3% is other coaching earnings. And South Central Railway, compared to South Central Railway, what is the actual performance, actual earnings? Again, goods we got from goods we got 75%. And passenger we got 20%, other coaching 3%, sunrise is 2%. So this is what the performance of South Central Railway is. And coming to how the earning, coming into how the budget and from where the rupee comes. So we should know from where, from which aspect coming in terms of rupee, which aspect we are getting money, from which head we are getting money. So that's how budget it is classified and shown as this thing. So about 63%, about 63 paisa, 64 paisa we get it from the goods, 28 paisa. Suppose we think that we earn 1 rupee. So from 1 rupee, the breakup is 63 paisa from goods, 28 paisa from passenger, and 6 paisa from the sundry, and almost 3 paisa from the other coaching. So that's how we get it from the, suppose we take in terms of rupee, this is how we get the money. And how does the rupee, where does the rupee go? So we should all know that from where, suppose we are getting 1 rupee, then how we are spending, how much money you are spending, what is that? So major cost, major expenditure is towards staff cost. So say 44 paisa, almost 44 paisa we are spending towards staff cost. Again, pension. See, again, pension 26 paisa we are spending towards pension. That means 44 plus 26, almost 70 paisa we are spending towards the staff cost and pension. Fuel expense is almost 12 paisa. Higher charges payable to Indian Railway Finance Corporation is almost 7 paisa. Miscellaneous expenditure, appropriation, DRF and all is almost 2 paisa. So from this we can understand that we are paying the major chunk of the earning towards the staff cost and pensions. Almost 70% of what we earn is going towards the staff cost and the pension, and fuel expense also about 82-83%. So the amount left to us is very less. So the amount we are paying towards, again we are paying to the Indian Railway Finance Corporation. Again we are paying to DRF, that is Depreciation Reserve Fund. So we can understand that Railways is not able to save any money. So we should be very worried, and we should try to understand why we are not able to save money and how to save money. You can always think about this. I'm just given the slides for you to understand, to throw up an idea that what are the steps to be taken to save money. In order to save Indian Railways, now Government of India has taken several steps to earn more revenue to railways, and they have conducted a lot of shivers, lot of seminars these last 3-4 years, inviting a lot of ideas from the public, from the railway staff, from the railway officials, asking them to give ideas to give innovative ideas so that the railways try to earn money. Because if we don't innovate, if we don't try to have a good idea of how to save money, then the railway is doomed. As you all know that roadways are playing a major role. They're expanding very fast under the Ministry of Road and Highways, and a lot of highways are getting erected, thousands of kilometers. The road is being expanded, new road is coming. The share of railways has come down drastically. Prior to 1950, I think the railway share was about 70 to 80% among the transportation. The road share was about 28 to 25%. Now you'll be surprised to know that only 25-30% is railway share. Almost road is carrying 70%. The sea and the air is almost carrying 5 to 10% now. So it is very essential that we should wake up and we should try to understand how to earn this money for railways. So we should have different ideas and how to save the money for the railways and how to curb the expenditure. That is how the Ministry of Railways has established a separate directorate called the Non-Fare Directorate, where they're inviting new innovative ideas to give to the railways so that they're going to implement these ideas and to improve the non-fare revenue aspect. Because in countries, again, the non-fare revenue is a big subject, and many countries, in metros also, the non-fare contribute 20% of the total earnings is contributed with non-fare revenue. Whereas Indian Railways, the non-fare revenue is hardly 1%, 2%. So that's how the government now, the Ministry of Railways is taking a lot of steps to improve the non-fare revenue aspect also. And as I told you that the surplus revenue is contributed to the Consolidated Fund of India. What is Consolidated Fund of India? Consolidated Fund of India is the most important of all the government accounts revenues received by the ministries, including railways, ministry, and expense made by it, excluding the exceptional items as part of the consolidated. The consolidated fund, whatever the ministry, all the ministry department under government of India, so whatever the money, the revenues they receive, they are going to the Consolidated Fund of India. This Fund of India was constituted on Article 266 of the Constitution. So all the government expenditure is made from this fund, that is investment railway projects, like gauge conversion, laying of new lines, electrical traction, station development, etc. All these are met from the, apart from the capital expenditure, the Consolidated Fund of India also sometimes funds us this expenditure towards this laying of new lines, etc. So after meeting all this operating expenditure, whatever the money left over, that will be remitted to the Consolidated Fund India as a dividend from the Ministry of Railways. Now I think the Railway Ministry say after merger of this Indian Railways with the general budget, this dividend payment of dividend has been discontinued. So what are the resources mainly? So we should also try to understand what are the resources, what are the funds from where we generate. One is the internal generation of funds, another is external generation of funds. So as a family, we also try to, suppose our salary is not enough. What we do, suppose we want to buy a house. So we get a meager income. So we try to take a loan from the banking sector. So likewise also, the Indian Railway is a huge organization where it requires thousands of crores to be funded, thousands of crores to lay new lines, to purchase wagons, to meet the OHE, to expand the electrification all. So it requires crores and crores of rupees. So the internal generation of funds, that is the amount which we get from the revenue, that is, as I told you, goods, coaching, that is not enough. So Government of India now has external generation of funds. These funds are generated from Ministry of Support, Ministry of Finance. We borrow from the external borrowings through issue of bonds, the World Bank, IMF, as I told you earlier. So IRFC, Indian Railway Finance Corporation also. So all these things we try to borrow from them at a reasonable interest and try to build infrastructure. Because any good infrastructure only will have good development. If you compare a country like China, which is fast developing, Singapore, which is fast developing, they have a very good infrastructure. So transportation plays a very, very vital role. Why the Government of India is also encouraging railways is a green transportation. Unlike roadways or airways, the amount of pollution generated from railways is very less. So the government is encouraging railways more because it contributes very less to the pollution. So it is very essential that railways expand more and it carries more commodities. But unfortunately, because we are not able to expand, we are not able to generate much funds, we are losing this competition to roadways. Because nowadays you can see a lot of 40-tonner roads, 40-tonner are available, they are moving by roads. After introduction of GST also, a lot of tolls are avoided now. The commodities are able to reach Delhi overnight. From Hyderabad to Delhi, they're able to reach within 24 hours. We thought Indian Railways is a monopoly in carrying large, bulk voluminous commodities. But slowly we are losing that chunk also because the road is giving a tough competition to us. Now 70% is going by road and 30% is going by rail. So we should be responsible, every railway man or woman, to see that the railway generation of funds improve. So with new innovative ideas, otherwise whatever the revenue which we are getting, we are also likely to go, and there is very survival of railways is at stake now. So there are two aspects of resource of generation. One is internal generation of funds, other is the external. Internal is from the earning which we receive from the, as I told you earlier, which we receive from the goods and passengers, others earning, coaching earnings. External generation is from the borrowing from the external agencies. So as I was telling you, what are the different aspects the Ministry of Railways has done to improve the earnings on Indian Railways. So recently, a lot of freight incentive schemes has been announced. So even this is a separate subject again, but to have an idea as how this Ministry of Railways, how we are trying to encourage and give a lot of concessions to trade, so that this trade will come back to railways. So slowly the traffic which is moved by road will come back to railways. So what is this automatic freight rebate scheme for traffic loaded in empty directions? So it is called TFD. You may all be aware that whenever a commodity is bought by road, it is always two ways. A transporter will not go from Hyderabad to Chennai and come back empty. You can study any transportation model that a lorry which carries commodity from Hyderabad to Chennai will bring back something. That's how it is workable to them. But in the railways, we find that a wagon, a train, a rake which goes loaded is mostly coming back empty. As a result, we are incurring a lot of expenditure in this empty flow. So Indian Railways has introduced a scheme called TEFD, that is Automatic Freight Rebate Scheme, wherein a traffic loaded in the empty direction, we get a rebate. The customer is offered a rebate up to 30%. Suppose the traffic from South Central Railway, that is Secunderabad division, to Vijayawada, that is we have a port called Krishnapatnam Port in Vijayawada division. We carry export item to port, and suppose the rake is coming back in empty direction, then suppose the rake is getting pet coke or coal, whatever it is there, from the imported coal from the port, and the party, instead of going by road, if they offer the traffic by rail, we are offering about a concession about 30%. So it's a win-win situation both to the party and to the railways, because we are able to carry some commodity. Instead of carrying no commodity, we are carrying some commodity, and we are able to earn by offering concession. And the party also is getting about 30% concession when he is loading traffic on the return direction. So that is called the incentive scheme for loading in empty flow direction. So I'm going to, time is not sufficient, and this is not also a part of the today's presentation, but just to give an idea at what are the different incentive schemes that were offered to the customer to bring back the traffic which is traveling by road. Again, we have offered long-term traffic contract, busy season surcharge. Now, whatever a busy season surcharge, earlier we used to levy about 10-15% busy season surcharge when traffic is not busy season. That has been removed now. Now there is no more levy busy season surcharge. And the customer, suppose he loads the return direction, that is round trip. So customer loads from A to B and back to A, if he loads the same rake in the return direction also, then we offer a concession under round trip tariff. And the customer, now fly ash was one of the commodities which was never traveled by train. They also used to travel by road mostly, because fly ash is a byproduct of the thermal power plants. So very low weight commodity, low rated commodity. Now railways is offered about 40% concession for the customer who is ready to load fly ash by train. We load in BCFC wagons, 40% concession, and short lead concession. So when we did a survey, we found that the short lead, about 200-300 kilometers, they are not going by rail. So the railway is carrying mostly the long lead traffic. Almost 70-90% traffic is going. The short lead traffic is going by road only. Now railways has offered about 50 to 75% concession for the customers, almost 50% concession we are offering now for the customer who is willing to load less than 100 kilometers traffic. We have offered 50% concession now. So again, concession long lead also, we have offered long lead, like earlier coal, we never used to give concession. Now coal also being offered concession. Now terminal access charges have been removed. Permissible carrying capacity has been improved. For loading bag consignment in flat wagons, so whenever normally this bag consignment are loaded in the covered wagons because of the safety aspect. But suppose a party during rainy season puts tarpaulins in their flat wagons and willing to load, he is offered a concession of 15-20% for his bag consignment to load in a open wagons. Incentive scheme is given. And penalty for overloading is now also modified. The minimum number of wagons also to train load been reduced 58 to 42 now. For BC and HL, supplementary charge has been modified. Distance for operation mini rake also has been reduced, has been improved. So these are all the different schemes which has been introduced by railways recently to attract more traffic to rail. So we should appreciate whatever the steps which you have taken to improve the traffic. Again, I'm just trying to give you what is the revenue aspect. That's what now. So we should know what is the major revenue which we are getting through. This is I have tried to typographically show you how much traffic by giving different colors and what is the commodity which we are carrying more. You can see in 1819 the commodity which we are carrying more is coal. So almost 49.6% is a major commodity for railways. So railway is depending more on coal. So coal is a major commodity for which we transport and which we earn. So for 49.6% we are trying to carry coal, and we are getting almost 46% of the total revenue we are getting from coal only. So coal is a major commodity for us. But as you understand, the government of India now, they are trying to discourage coal. So another 30-40 years now, thermal plants are discouraged because of the pollution. Recently, a meeting was also held, COP meeting was held in Paris, that all the countries should try to reduce thermal power plants. They should go to green plants like your hydroelectricity or the solar energy. So our long-term goals, this commodity which we are now earning, that also may go. The 49% of coal which we are traveling, another 20 years, it may also be going away by roll. So we have to think many other ideas that what commodity we should carry and we should replan our strategies to improve the railway earnings. So next is other goods. Other goods is like granite, laterite, other commodities. They almost constitute 14% in 1920, 14%. So coal is almost 48%. Other goods are 14%. Next is cement. So next major commodity for railways is cement. Cement is almost we are carrying 13%. We are of the commodities is cement only. So 30% is good. Coal is 48%, cement is 12%. So these are the major commodities which we are now carrying, and iron and steel. So if you can analyze these commodities which I'm showing you, you can understand these are bulk commodities. Except cement and food grains, remember bulk commodities which are difficult to carry by road. Otherwise, road also would have carried with this. Because of pollution and all, the road is unable to carry. So government public will not allow the coal to be carried by road. So that's how we are railways. They are forced to come by railways only. Otherwise, we are going to lose this also. So the revenue aspect again, that was a graphics bar charts which I'm showing. Now this is the basic figures which I'm trying to show you. The coal, we have through coal 54,246 crores we have earned in 1920. Raw material for steel plants 2,000 crores. Pig iron steel 7,286. Iron ore 10,965 crores. Cement 8,745 crores. Food grains 6,153 crores. 5,000 crores fertilizers. Mineral oil 5,928. So out of 1.1 lakh crores, we have earned major, almost I said 60-70% is through coal and iron ore, cement. These are the main things which we are earning from these major commodities. Only few commodities are contributing major revenue to the railways. So thank you. I hope you all understood whatever the presentation is given. I've just tried to explain to you the major aspects of the earning budget. I've explained to you what is budget and what is earning budget, and what constitutes the earning budget, and what are the different aspects of the freight earnings, and what are different aspects of the passenger earnings, and how much what is the contribution of railways in terms of what is the contribution of Southern Railway in terms of Indian Railways, and where does Indian Railways stand in terms of the international railways also, and how do we calculate and estimate these passenger earnings, and how do we estimate for the current year, and also how do we estimate for the coming year, both in terms of passenger and goods, and how do we calculate these ordinary earnings, and how do we calculate these apportioned earnings, and what are the major commodities which contribute to the earnings of Indian Railways. I hope this subject is useful to you. I hope this will not only useful to the examination point of view. I hope this has given you a wide scope and wide understanding of where do we stand and what is the duty of railway employee, and hope new ideas may come out, because the constraints which railways is facing, and also the competition which railway is facing in terms of road and airways also. So thank you so much. Now I open the forum for doubts and all. You can ask the doubts so it can be cleared.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
I've unmuted everybody. If you have any doubts, please raise your hand. One Mr. S.K. Naik, he has raised his hand. Yeah, please speak. Please unmute and speak, Mr. S.K. Naik.
Sir, please take a class on various freight incentive scheme.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, what is stacking charge and trip charge, sir?
Stacking charges, trip charges.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, stacking charges is for the charges levied at the goods shed. Suppose a container corporation, we levy a lot of stacking charges. Concor brings the containers and they place it on the goods shed line, goods shed area. If they don't have a commercial plot, they place it and we levy the stacking charge. That is something a rental they pay to keep their commodities on the railways area. That is the stacking charges. The difference between stacking charges and a commercial plot is, commercial plot they take a lease but stocking charges are paid for say 1 day, 2 days, or week, or 10 days. That's the difference. So the trip charges, as I told you, trip charges are levied when a siding or a siding is not notified for true distance basis. When a siding is notified up to the serving station only, the trip charges, that is called the siding charges, are levied to calculate the distance to be levied, the freight to be levied for the distance traveled from the serving station to the buffer end of the sidings. That is called trip charges.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, next.
What is lead, sir? Lead.
Lead, that's what. Lead is nothing but the distance traveled by the commodity. So distance transported by a particular commodity. Suppose a coal is transported from say A, originating station A to destination B, say about 250 kilometers. That is the lead. That is helpful for us to calculate the earnings aspect and to understand suppose the longer the lead, the more the freight we get. So we try to encourage longer lead traffic. And that's the reason why we also trying to give incentives, because the shorter lead, you can know the freight table. So the longer lead, the more the amount we get. So the lead is nothing but the distance traveled in kilometers from say A to B.
Thank you, sir.
NTKM, GTKM, sir.
Yeah, NTKM is net ton kilometers. Net ton kilometer is net tonnage. So tonnage, say suppose a wagon say 64 tons travels for a distance of 100 kilometers. So 6,400 is the net tonnage kilometers. That is tonnage into kilometers. Tonnage is 64 kilometers is distance traveled 100 kilometers. So 6,400 kilometers is the NTKM. 6,400 is the NTKMs.
GTKM, sir.
GTKMs is the gross ton kilometers. The total gross. So GTKMs is normally used to calculate the strength of the track. So if the GTKMs of a track is more, then it needs some replacement.
Any other doubts, please? Any other doubts? If you have any doubts, please raise your hand or you can ask directly. Okay, if there are no further doubts, shall we wind up the session? Yes, please,
Hello.
Yes, Kumar. Yes, please speak.
Yes, sir. Sir, please again apportioned earning के बारे में बताइए sir.
हाँ जी. So apportioned earnings, I told you there are two parts of earnings. One is the originating earnings. The other is apportioned earnings. Apportioned earnings is other than the originating earnings. Originating earnings मतलब है जैसा ही आपके पास originate होता है, आपके साथ start होता है, जो loading rakes आपके पास load होता है, that is called originating earnings. Apportioned earnings जो होता है when it is loaded not on your station, when it is loaded on other railways. यहाँ पे लोड होता है मगर it travels on your railway, and whatever the earnings which we earned through the distance travel on your railway. See again example दूंगा मैं, एक गाड़ी तो स्टार्ट हुआ सदर्न रेलवे से एंड हुआ साउथ ईस्टर्न में, तो साउथ सेंट्रल का अपॉर्चुनिटी जितना भी साउथ सेंट्रल में ट्रैवल हुआ, से 50 किलोमीटर या 200 किलोमीटर ट्रैवल हुआ, उसके हिसाब से कितना डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल हुआ, उसके हिसाब से अर्निंग कैलकुलेट किया जाता है, उसके ऊपर आपको अपोर्शन किया जाता है. तो इवन दो आई डोंट load from my railway, but I get earning because the commodity is carried on my railway. That is called apportionment. Clear?
Yes, sir. On Samsung, he raised his hand. Please unmute and ask your doubt, please. Samsung. Please unmute and ask the doubt. So there is.
Sir, non-fair revenue, sir. What is the non-fair revenue?
That's what I don't know. Non-fair revenue is a revenue basically which we get from the advertisements. Basically. So advertisement में जो भी आपको मिल रहा, now it's again a big subject में उसको अलग से लेना पड़ेगा. So even though it is not part of this, not a major concept of this thing, but now railways is giving a lot of importance because they're introducing a lot of new schemes like NIN freeze है ना, innovative scheme. NIN freeze आपको आप देख सकते हैं रेलवे स्टेशन में, आप अभी देख सकता है you can see lot of medical weighing machine लगाया है. Your health to evaluate the health, they have kept some health kiosks. नहीं तो chairs relaxation के लिए जैसे airport में है chairs लगा जा रहा. So any scheme which is innovative that is not introduced earlier, if that is introduced for a period of 1 year, that is coming under NIN freeze, and that also comes under non-fair revenue. So not fair, जैसा fair मतलब passenger से जो earn करता है, passenger tickets तो जो बेचता है उसको fair ticket बोलता है. Other than the passenger ticket में जो मिलता है fair आपको कमा रहा है उसको non-fair किया जाता है. So the earning which we are not earning through sale of tickets, that is non-fair revenue. That non-fair revenue is derived from the like your advertisements. जैसा advertisement board में आपको पैसा कमाता है, you can earn from new ideas, as I told you, from the station. Now a lot of shops लगा जा रहा है, lot of new shops are coming up in the station, lot of new relaxing chairs, massage chairs आ रहा है, lot of BMI index जैसा health condition पता चलने के लिए आपको station में लगा जा रहा है. So a lot of new things are coming. So whatever the earnings which you are getting from other than the fair, normal fare, that is called non-fair revenue.
Sir, advertisement actually sir sundry other earnings not an advertisement.
हाँ, sundry again sundry में है, and non-fair revenue is part of sundry earning only.
Yes, sir. सर स्टेशन में अभी जो नया सर एसी रूम बना रहा है जो वेटिंग के लिए 1 hour और 2 hours, दिस इज अ non-fair revenue.
Non-fair revenue, correct.
Yes, sir.
सर नमस्ते सर.
नमस्ते.
हेलो. हाँ सर,
हाँ,
ये वही थी, आप लोग को जब इतनी अच्छी हिंदी आती है तो पूरी इंग्लिश में स्पीच क्यों देते हैं सर? क्योंकि हम लोग अधिकतर लोग हिंदी समझने वाले हैं सर. जब आपको इतनी अच्छी हिंदी आती है तो थोड़ा बीच में हिंदी बोलने से बहुत अच्छा रहता है कि हम लोग सब समझ सकते हैं सर. दूसरा ये है कि पूरा जो डाटा आप लोग को नॉर्मल सर सिंपल सा अर्निंग बजट जो होता है किस प्रकार बनाते हैं, सिंपल सा हमको उसका कैलकुलेशन क्या होता है. आपके पास इतने सारे डाटा डाल देते हैं कि हमको उसमें कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं कि है क्या चीज. तो सर प्लीज अगले बार जो भी कुछ समझाइए तो उसको सिंपल वे में समझाने की कोशिश कीजिए सर, प्लीज रिक्वेस्ट है सर.
हाँ ठीक है.
Mr. G. Bihari, please unmute and ask your question. G. Bihari, please unmute and ask your question, please. Bihari ji. Bihari has raised his hand. आप हाथ उठाए please. आपका
Sir, where will get this apportion earnings and originating earnings, sir, in the data?
Which data?
That one is apportion you are shown now, sir, so many crores and like that. That apportioned and originating earnings, sir, with through PICE or where, sir?
No, that is prepared by the commercial department and the finance department. That's what I know. The ordinary earnings we prepare. The apportioned earnings also we prepare based on the data generated through PICE. Whatever the data we get, we calculate.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, other coaching earnings comes under the percent or not?
Leads formula, sir.
Sorry, leads?
Lead formula, sir.
Formula kuch nahi. Lead is nothing but the distance traveled from A to B, from the origin to destination.
Okay, sir.
Somebody was saying other.
Sir, other coaching earnings comes under apportioned earning or not, sir?
No. Other coaching will not come under apportionment.
It's only originating only, sir.
No, originating. Apportioned earnings is, again I'm telling you, again, originating is different, apportion is different. Apportion Earning is earning which we have earned for the traffic which is not originated from your railway or from your division.
Other coaching, sir. Other coaching earnings, sir.
Other coaching में नहीं है.
Other coaching is originating earnings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only originating.
Thank you.
बट सर पार्सल सर अदर कोचिंग में है सर पार्सल, तो पार्सल का तो अपॉर्चुनिटी होता है सर.
पार्सल का अपॉर्चुनिटी, पार्सल का आपको कितना कंट्रीब्यूशन है पार्सल का?
पार्सल का नॉमिनल है सर 2%.
1% भी नहीं. मेजर चंक इज फ्राइडे.
Piyush Bami. Piyush.
Sir.
Bihari ji.
सर गुड इवनिंग सर.
हाँ गुड इवनिंग.
अच्छा सर, हम एक बात पूछना चाहते हैं, जैसे बजट अर्निंग जो है सीसीएम के थ्रू एस्टीमेट बजट अर्निंग जो है सीसीएम के थ्रू रूटेड आउट होता है, तो उसमें एफएनसीओ का क्या भूमिका होता है? उनको भी वो वेट करना होता है?
हाँ हाँ, एफएनसीओ का जो बताया ना, एफएनसीओ का जो था उसका है सन्डे अर्निंग बनाने का है. हम जो है हम लोग ऑडिटिंग अर्निंग का बना के हम लोग अकाउंट्स डिपार्टमेंट भेजेंगे. अकाउंट्स डिपार्टमेंट देन इन टर्न विल सेंड इट टू रेलवे बोर्ड.
ओके सर. और वो जो अर्निंग होता है गुड्स अर्निंग, कोचिंग अर्निंग, उसको उस पे अटेंशन नहीं देता एफएनसीओ, केवल सन्डे अर्निंग पर देता है ध्यान.
हाँ, बिकॉज वी डील हम कमर्शियल डिपार्टमेंट डील करता है ना, जो सा है जो कमर्शियल अर्निंग जो डील करता है. अभी बताया ना फर्स्ट लाइन वही था मुझे.
जी.
सीसीएम एफएम जो है वी डील विद द मार्केटिंग बेसिकली. हमको ये मार्केट में कितना ट्रैफिक आ सकता है, कितना ट्रैफिक कहाँ से आ सकता है, सो वी एस्टिमेट बेस्ड ऑन दैट.
जी.
तो अगर ट्रैफिक नेक्स्ट ईयर ज्यादा आएगा, हम लोग पता चलेगा कि बिकॉज वी होल्ड लॉट ऑफ मीटिंग्स, बीडीयू मीटिंग बताते ना, द बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट मीटिंग होता है, तो रफली वो एस्टिमेट देता है कितना ट्रैफिक आ सकता है, अगले ट्रैफिक कितना साल कितना आ सकता है.
जी.
उसी हिसाब से हम लोग कैलकुलेट करते हैं.
Is there any role of DOM, sir, here?
Sorry?
Any role is there in DOM role, sir? Operating
DOM,
role?
no. Only commercial department, CCM, FM is this thing. Because DOM basically they are in operations. Statistics का उतना नहीं.
Any other doubts, please? Piyush. If you have any doubts, can you ask? I think. No
Sir,
further
please
doubt.
explain, sir, LTTC.
LTTC. Okay, what is LTTC, sir?
long term tariff contract जो है, what is the scheme which was introduced by railway board. Now it again is a big subject. वो अलग से एक subject बना सकता है. So उसमें अभी that is been discontinued now. Now it is not there anymore. But that was a scheme which was well taken by the customers who were loading more than 1 million tons. उसका है, if the customer is say committing a traffic of 1 million ton traffic commit होता है, तो अगले साल if he is loading more than 1 million ton, so we fix a benchmark to them. जैसी benchmark से ज्यादा करेगा तो उसको एक incentive मिल जाएगा. तो उसमें फ्राइट में उसको he'll get a rebate of say 5%, 10% जो भी है. So basically to encourage more traffic, we give the concession. And the load and the long term में जब से entry होता है, and during the period of contract agreement जो year sign होता है, if the freight rates increase also, he will not have that freight rate impact on that particular year. उनके पर freight बढ़ा ही नहीं जाता है.
Sir, after merger of railway budget with general budget, how the earning budget is means what is the role of it now? Means
Merger of budget, the earning budget is internal. It is not affected at all. The earning budget is not at all affected. It's internal. by the railways.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you,
Any other
sir.
doubts, please? Any other doubts, please? Okay, I think, sir, there are no further doubts, so we'll wind up the session. A poll is launched. Sorry, feedback is, please give your feedback also. Okay, sir, on behalf of IRIFM, I thank Shri B.D. Christopher, sir, for taking up the session on earnings budget and also explaining, clarifying many doubts. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we have session on budget preparation and its reviews. Login time is 2:45 and the class session starts at 3 o'clock. Thank you all. Thank you so much.